Today we are starting second chapter, Mechanical Properties of Fluids. What is a fluid? Fluid is a substance that can flow. Liquids and gases both are called as a fluid because some properties of liquids and gases are similar. So we combine them in a group which is called as a fluid. Fluid plays very important role in day-to-day life. We breathe, we drink them. Even it flows in a human cardiovascular system. You listen so many times the words normal blood pressure, high blood pressure, and the low blood pressure. What is a blood pressure? Blood is a fluid. So, fluid, the force of circulating blood on the walls of the arteries, that is called the blood pressure. When this force exceeds the limit, it is the low blood pressure, it is high blood pressure, and when it is lower than the specific value, we will say the person is suffering with the low blood pressure. On another hand, fluid we use in different vehicles, tires of the vehicles, air circulates in batteries, in air conditioner, in different machines, hydraulic machines, which are based on the principle or which are working, which are operated by the fluid only. So even we can walk so many miles in the presence of the fluid only, in the presence of air. If air is not there, it is not possible. So fluid plays very important role in our life. And today it's a time to see what is physics behind it. What physics tells us about the fluid. Now there are three states of matter: solids, liquids, and gases. One more state is the plasma. So right now we are referring only these three states. Solid in one category, liquids and gases are in other category. So I need whiteboard. So what is the difference between the solid and the liquid? This is the introductory part. This is the lecture flow. Today we will discuss these topics. So this is the solid structure. The molecules of the solid, they are bound together with a force in tangential direction. This is the tangential direction, the force acquiring to all the molecules, and in normal direction also they are acquiring the force on one another. So that's why the solid have the regular shape. Their molecules are combined together with a molecular force of attraction. So there the shear stress is there and the normal stress is also present. On another hand, the liquid that we know, the liquid contains the shape of the container in which it is placed. Liquid or fluid in which it is placed, it acquires the shape. Why this is? Because in the fluid there are molecules and they are exerting force on one another only in perpendicular direction. No force is acting in tangential direction. This force is absent here. This force in the tangential direction, it is absent here. So these molecules, they are allowed to flow. And that's why the fluid flows. And hence we can say, in a fluid, shearing stress is absent, but the normal stress, that is in perpendicular direction, this stress is present. Right? So this is the difference between solids and the fluids. Now whenever we have to study the behavior of the fluids, so we will say or we will consider the ideal situation, that is the ideal fluid. What is the ideal fluid? The ideal fluid properties are written even in your textbook also, properties are there. It is incompressible, means density is same everywhere. Its flow is irrotational, means no turbulence is present in the flow, it should be steady. Non-viscous, means viscosity is constant with time, and it is a viscosity is constant with time. So these are the properties of the ideal fluid. But in general, the fluid is a substance that can flow. It acquires the shape of the container. It exerts the force in the normal direction. Shearing stress is absent in the fluid. So these are the general properties or the properties of the fluid that we are using in the day-to-day life or that we are observing everywhere. Now, to understand the behavior of fluid, so many times in your practical life you use the words just like a pressure cooker or the balloon. The balloon breaks because there is a pressure difference between inside and outside. Right. So pressure is there. Gauge pressure is there. There is a constant pressure when you are filling or the air inside your vehicles of the tires of the vehicle. So constant pressure is required. On for four-wheelers, the rear wheels and forward wheels, the pressure is the different. So whenever we are talking about the fluid, to understand the behavior of the fluid, we must understand first two physical quantities, density and the pressure. Right? So first we will see what you mean by the density. Density that you studied from 8th or 9th standard, it is the ratio of mass and volume. So density is equal to mass upon volume. Very simple concept. Dense liquid or the dense fluid. If 100 ml of water, if you are considering three fluids, water, petrol and suppose honey. All 100 ml quantities of if you have taken in a container, then what you will observe? Honey will having very smallest volume because it is the more dense, highest density among these three. Then petrol and then the water. So you can say this honey is more dense as compared to petrol and petrol is dense as compared to water. So this is the meaning of density, mass and volume. So this ratio of mass and volume is called the density. So you can write the SI unit of density as per the formula. This is SI unit of mass is kilogram per meter cube. Unit of volume meter cube. So kilogram per meter cube is SI unit. You can write your dimensions of density. This is mass, that is M one time, and volume in denominator. So you will write in numerator. So it will be M1 L raised to minus 3. And time concept or the time quantity is 0. Here you will write T raised to 0. So these are the dimensions. Now, if you want to compare the density of the two material, because in different units, the quantities, the unit of the densities are different. So if you are saying that the density of this material is suppose 5 SI unit and density of that material is suppose 7 CGS unit. So you cannot predict which one is more dense because both units are different in different system of units. So that's why to avoid this confusion, there is a concept of the specific density. So what is the specific density? Specific density, it is the density of material. You have to write here in one medium. Density of material in one medium divided by density of water in same medium. In which the density of material is measured. In that unit, we have to measure the density of water. So this ratio is called the specific density. Both the quantities are measuring in the same unit. That's why the unit of the specific density is, it is the unitless quantity, no unit. And that's why you can compare the densities of two quantity in terms of the specific density. If the specific density of this material is 3 and specific density of other material is 5, then you can say this 5 is more dense that of the 3, because both are measuring with the units of with the concept of specific density. So this is the use, and using this formula you can find out the density of the material in which medium that you want. So if you multiply this specific density multiplied by density of water in that medium, you can find out density of the material, right? So this is about density. Now the next physical quantity is known as the pressure. This is pressure. It is very common name that we are using in day-to-day life. What is the pressure? That you studied from again 7th standard, 8th standard. It is the ratio of force upon area is called the pressure. Again, definition is written: the normal force exerted by fluid at rest per unit surface area of contact, that is effect of force, is called the pressure. Normal force. Now to understand this, first we will consider few examples. If we want to cut the, suppose this is a block, and if you want to cut the block, okay, if you want to cut this block, suppose the 10 kg mass is placed on it, you won't be able to cut, right? But if the same 10 kg mass, if the knife is placed on this block and then 10 kg mass is placed on that knife, then this block will easily cut out. What is the difference between the two? Forces are same. In both the case, you applied the force of 10 kilogram. But the effect of force is different. In first case, entire area is covered. In second case, the only edge of the knife is covered, and on this you place the 10 kg mass. So less the area, greater the effect of force. Understand? Another simple example. If you have the bag of suppose 10 kg, and handle, instead of handle, if single wire is attached over there, then it is not possible to hold the bag. Your hands will be injured and you will say, no, it's not my work, I can't hold the bag. But instead of wire, thin wire, if handle is attached, puffy handle is attached, then you can easily hold the bag. Again, what is difference between the two? In one case, the area is very small, and in another case, area is large. So when area is large, the effect of force, that is the pressure, will be less, and it is easily, same person will easily hold the bag. So this is the pressure, you can say effect of force. So this word is written, that is effect of force is called the pressure. Force is same in these two cases, but their effect is different because it depends upon the area. Greater the area, smaller the pressure. Smaller the area, greater the pressure. Same, so many examples. If you want to fix the nail inside the wall, and if the nail is not hold properly, if it is placed ulta and you are hammering with the hammer, then it won't move the nail inside the wall. Again, same concept, area is not small. So if you are keeping the nail properly, so the pointed part towards the wall, and then you are hammering with the hammer, the nail will driven inside the wall.